Hi team, Roboman New Zealand here. After my last video I've done on the control of Luba versus the Sunseeker X7, I had a few inquiries and sort of a bit of backwards and forwards. So I just sort of thought I'd put another comparison on, and the idea of that comparison is really showcasing between Luba and Lawmaster X7 on control, turning, tracking along the side of a hill, and what kind of influence it has on the actual performance if it comes to cutting a certain area and going back to the charging station. So as you could see, coming along through the three sections, which were part of that trial I've done, the Lawmaster is absolutely brilliant. It's just sort of, it doesn't, you go up, down, back and forth. And on this point, quite frankly, I have to say, we moved and steered the mowers the same way. And there's a bit of difference in coming in and out, which is not relevant. That one machine is going a bit faster and a bit straighter. I mean, the algorithm they use to work out the areas and the pathways and so on, it's just different. I don't think that has a big influence in regards to going from A to B. But what does show up really in a quite incredible way is the driving train of the X7. When you have a look at the way it turns, the way it stays in control, regardless if it comes up or down or whichever way it goes, it's just absolutely brilliant the way this mower tracks with its big wheels in front and the steerer and the drive in the back. Look at here, that's in excess at the top of that 40 degrees, and there's a tiny bit of slipping, but really bugger all. There's not something you really have to mention. So the mower tracks back, and I think the total amount of time used for that particular task was about 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Now second up is the Luba doing exactly the same thing. So the Luba comes out, and as I said, it's not fair or not necessarily what I tried to show. When Luba comes out and makes its way over to that third section, so the algorithm they use to sort of go from A to B is not really a point we can sort of feel like it makes a difference. I mean, it does look a bit out of control and not that efficient, but that's not really what we try to showcase with that particular video. So you can basically ignore that the mower turns slightly different. I mean, it is obvious that the unidirectional wheels and the weight going sideways along a hill will sort of throw the Luba off track all the time, because it's just simply, if you're not going up on at least 15 to 20 degrees angle, it's just the weight will drag the machine down, and the machine has to make corrections. And that's obviously in here is a bit funny depending what it is, and you can see the way it falls down. But yeah, that's not what we're talking about. So it's really, it's reasonable flat that it can hold its weight. Now, what is really going to show up here is when you look at the way the Luba turns and you compare that with the Sunseeker or with the Lawmaster. The Lawmaster has a coordinated turn, sort of like the front wheels turn and the back wheels turn, and it's like a fluid motion going from up 180 degrees turn, going down 180 degrees. So it's every time, regardless if you're going up or down, there's something actually controlling the back end and the front end of that particular mower. So when you have a look at Luba, Luba is going up and down the hill, not a problem, but the problem starts if it comes down to the bottom of the hill. It should really stop at that particular point. The border is exactly where that standard is there, and as you can see, Luba is sort of tracking and slipping and tracking and slipping, and it's going across the line a tiny bit, which is not a problem, but it needs to go forward to hold the height, and that means it sort of starts to go back up again, and it's not, hasn't been able to actually go in line with the line on the right. So there's a bit of an area which is not being cut now because of not being able to control and turn on that particular point. So up the top, it's quite a bit easier for him, because by the time the front drops down, he can go back up and go with his four-wheel drive, push himself into line, even though he overstepped again. So he came over, started to come down, and then gets in line with the last line he cut from the bottom up. But all that is taking a lot of time, and we can clearly see here he struggles to stay in that particular area. So again, here you can see sort of it's going up, it's going down, then it does his perimeter cut, coming down. Here again, sort of you can see he tries to sort of do something, even loses control to the point that he sort of, his front bumper runs into one of the standards. And then again, ignoring all of that, the way he turns is just working up more dirt than anything else. So that's a particular bad point on the corner there, which is hard to overcome with the two-wheel drive mower. That's why it sort of looks worse than what it actually is. But you can see, looking at Luba, so he's been across the line to a certain degree. Now he tries again to line himself up and slipping down again, so he comes back up, second round of perimeter cut, and he's done. He's moving his way back and again slipping away, so you can see here that whichever way he needs to line himself up to overcome the height. So the tracking sideways is always going to be an issue with the Luba, because the unidirectional wheels are simply dragging the machine down, and it's not a fluid motion to correct his direction. He needs to go back and forth, and has three-step turns to do that. So he's going to go up, and there's no doubt that Luba can climb, but by climbing, he really needs to sort of bring himself into line again and again and again to be able to go from A to B. So again, like I said, it's not the biggest issue for me that Luba needs to do a couple of corrections going up the hill, but we can obviously see there is a real effort on that end to stay on track and have the line done. So Luba took about 19 minutes to that cutting, and that doesn't say much in the sense, but to represent bigger areas, then those facts will change. But I think the point we prove here is the awesome driving train the LawnMaster has. All right, thank you guys, and you have an awesome day.